show you how to make a wireless temperature and humidity sensor using a NodeMCU, DHT22 sensor, and a HomeAssistant instance. So if you're not familiar, HomeAssistant is a very popular open source software that allows you to connect many of your home automation devices into one central hub and control them all from there. I highly recommend it. The NodeMCU is you can think of it like an Arduino with a built-in Wi-Fi chip that's very cheap. So you can see here's a 4-pack for $20, so $5 each, which is excellent, with free shipping on Amazon. The DHT22 is a temperature and humidity sensor that is decently accurate for the price. So here's two of them for less than $10. And to install HomeAssistant, I'm not going to go into much detail because they have good instructions here on their website, HomeAssistant or home-assistant.io. Click on Getting Started and you can run through the install here. If you are just getting started, there are a few different ways to install it, but I definitely recommend their method, their preferred method, which is installing using Haas.io on a Raspberry Pi. That will make things very simple for you. Okay, so that's all of the stuff you're going to need. And now the first step will be to get your Haas.io instance up and running, so follow these install steps here. Then once you have it up and running, log in. So this is what it looks like when you log in. I have a few things already configured. You'll have less things here. And then from within Haas.io, we're going to install a few add-ons. So over here, you click on Haas.io, go to the add-on store, and you're going to need to install Configurator and the Mosquitto broker. Configurator is a browser-based text editor that allows you to edit your config files for HomeAssistant easily through the browser. Mosquitto is a MQTT broker. And MQTT is software that many home automation devices use to communicate values or to receive communication from other devices. So today we're going to be using software on the NodeMCU to communicate its readings to the MQTT broker, which HomeAssistant will then pick up. Okay, and now the Mosquitto broker needs users. I guess technically you can allow anonymous users, although I don't recommend that, and it defaults to no. You should make a user specifically for MQTT, and to do that, go to Configuration, Users, and then the plus button down here. And I called mine MQTT admin with the username MQTT_admin, and then give it a password. Remember the username and password because we will be using that on the NodeMCU software to communicate. So once you do that, we are going to start actually programming the Arduino, or programming the NodeMCU using the Arduino software. If you haven't used it before, the Arduino IDE is a really basic text editor that allows you to quickly and easily upload your program to microcontroller-based boards like the NodeMCU. So you're going to download it from arduino.cc here. And now, for me to get it to work, I also needed to install these drivers, and I will link to them. Depending upon which board you get, these might not be exactly the ones. If you buy the board I recommend, these are the correct drivers. And you can see here they say CP2102, and you can see these are the drivers for CP210 whatever USB drivers. So these are correct, and I'm running it on a Mac. It looks like they have Windows and Linux and other driver versions here as well. Okay, so once you install the IDE and get these up and running, this is the Arduino IDE. You will also need to add an additional board. So you go to Arduino, Preferences, and here in the Additional Boards Manager URL, you're going to enter this URL, which I will have a link in the description. Then you click OK. Then you can go to Tools, Boards Manager. In here, you type ESP8266 and install this board. I already have it installed, so that's not an option for me. And finally, we are going to install some libraries that our code needs. So you'll go to Tools, Sketch, Include Library, Manage Libraries, and then I've already installed them, but I'll show you which ones you need to install. So go here, and then at the bottom, so you're going to need to install 4 libraries. Adafruit Unified Sensor, and you can just search for all of these. ArduinoJson, DHT Sensor Library, and the PubSubClient. And for me, for the ArduinoJson library, I had to install the latest version 5. The version 6s were not working for me. But once you have installed those libraries, it is time to actually build and push the code. So you plug in your NodeMCU via USB to your computer. You're going to paste this code into the Arduino editor, and then you're going to need to change a few variables. Here, the Wi-Fi name, you're going to have to type in your Wi-Fi network name, and here you're going to have to type in your Wi-Fi network password. Here is where you're going to give this device a unique name. I'm calling it DH22-3 because it's my 3rd one that I'm using in my house. Here you need to give the IP address of your MQTT server, and if you installed it the way I recommended as a HossIO add-on, this will be the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. Here you need to type in MQTT admin username and your MQTT password. This is the username and password you made in your HomeAssistant users database earlier. And finally, here you can change this name to anything you think makes sense. You just need to make sure that when we go into HomeAssistant to configure it, the sensor topic needs to match on both sides. I'm just calling it basically DH22-3 and then sensor 1. Okay, so once you've done all of that, one other thing you can change if you want, this is seconds in between reads. I have mine running every 60 seconds. Depending upon your application, you can change this to be longer or shorter. But in my experience, 60 seconds is pretty good for something that doesn't change very quickly, like temperature or humidity. Now you're going to want to connect your DHT22 to your NodeMCU like I have shown in this picture. The plus pin on the DHT22 should be routed to 3.3 volts on the NodeMCU. The minus pin should be routed to ground, and the out pin should be routed to D2, which is also labeled as GPIO4 on the underside. Once you have it all connected, we can move into building and programming. Okay, so I'm actually going to go through the upload process to show you how that works. I have at the top of this file changed the Wi-Fi name and password to my network settings. I also changed the time between updates to 10 so we can see the updates quicker. So you're going to want to go to Tools and make sure you have all of these entries selected as I do here. So you might want to pause the video and make sure you have all of these selected just like I have them. And then you click Upload. assuming of course you've plugged in your NodeMCU over USB. So the upload is happening. You can see down here. I'm going to bring up the serial monitor. Click here on Tools, Serial Monitor. Make sure you have baud rate set to 115/200, and that should, I think because I just selected it, it cleared it out. Yeah, there we go. You should see, I'm going to restart the NodeMCU here. So it's connecting. You can see it's connected, it's got an IP address, it's communicating with the MQTT server, and in about 10 seconds, there you go, you'll see the actual readings come over. If you see this, you're great, and you can move on to the Home Assistant side of things to configure it to get these readings. But if you don't, two things that have happened to me in the past, depending upon which GPIO port you're connecting the signal to, you may need to unplug that pin while you upload, and then you can plug it back in after the upload has completed. Also, in some instances, I've had the sensor fail to get readings directly after compiling it and uploading, and usually in cases like that, just hitting the reset button, which is to the which is near the USB port on the NodeMCU, it's labeled RST. Just hit that button, and hopefully that should fix your problems, and you should eventually see streaming temperature and humidity values here. So once you're at that point, it is time to move over to the Home Assistant side of things. We are back in Home Assistant, and we're going to configure it. Open up your configurator. I've added it as a file system link on the left side. There's instructions for that in the Configurator add-on. So you open up Configurator and then edit the configuration.yaml, which I have here. And at the bottom, you are going to enter these two new sensors. So it is important that the state topic matches what you have in your Arduino IDE, which I have entered as DHT22-3/sensor1. You can also change the name here. I'm just calling it temperature2 and humidity2. And once you have done that, you will click this save button up here. And then we're going to restart Home Assistant. So you come over here to Configuration, General, check config. It's always important to do that to make sure your config is valid. And once you've done that, you will click Restart. And then once your Home Assistant is restarted, you should now up here be able to see new entries. So here is humidity, humidity2, which is what I have. And I've been breathing and blowing on it to test it to make sure it works. So you can kind of see there recently, those are the values. So that is everything. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.